Good day. This is Gary Clark, the other Gary Clark, uh, for the fourth podcast called Question for Today. And here's that chorus just as a reminder. Be it living day by day, be it work or constant play. 'Cause it happens anyway, so what's your question for today? La 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 la. Picking up from last week's podcast, where the answer dealt with the question that came up: why can't we all just have peace together? And I ran through a lot of illustrations. It was 18 minutes and 10 seconds. Kind of blew me away when I realized it. But that song, "Peace Enough to Last All Day," if you didn't get to hear it, go check out the previous or last week's podcast and discussion on peace enough to last all day is what I shared. And then I was going from Paul's letter in the Bible from Ephesians to the Ephesians or Philippians to a small group band of Christians in Philippi, where he said, rejoice, chapter 4, verse 6. He said, rejoice in the Lord. Rejoice. Again, I say rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all people. And some translations say men as a general term that means everyone, all people. And then I noticed that some people have been talking about how do you rejoice or how do you be joyful when things are not good? Is that possible? How can you? Isn't that being hypocritical? Well, there's another question to consider too. That's a good question. And many people are condemned for having too much peace or more peace than other people think that should be warranted or would be possible. And it even leads to people asking the question, don't you care about what's going on? Well, that's an assumption. It's a reaction. It's a perspective, I guess. Yeah. One thing my daughter started catching on to one time years ago when things were not going well. And she said, people would say, "Oh, everything's so good. You guys look so good." And she started saying, "Things aren't always as they appear." Well, sometimes when we're experiencing the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, back to Philippians 4, that keeps our hearts and minds guarded in Christ Jesus, it looks strange. It seems weird for many people to see that, and well, how come you're not upset? How come you're not? Well, I'm praying right now. I'm looking for God's peace. Or the answer sometimes is I've seen this many times before, and I don't have control over the situation, so I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm going to focus my thoughts on peace. I'm going to look around and I'm going to see and think about what I can do that's helpful before I just jump in and stir the pot so badly that you can't see what needs to come to the surface. Those are some responses I've heard, and I've used those. I've said that. Consider it pure joy, or count it pure joy. I think I said that last week in the podcast, and I said I would pick up on that as well. So, how do you find joy in difficult situations? And I just talked a little bit about that peace. It comes from the peace. For me, it comes from the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, that the world can't produce, and the world that doesn't know God or understand that peace or isn't receiving it can't fathom. It's just not on the radar screen sometimes. And sometimes the pain is so deep and the shock is so violent that peace is not happening. It's reaction time. And then that's why someone told me many years ago, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago, instead of reacting anxiously and jumping into the fray because you're naturally bent to, you're not a flyer, you're a fighter. You'll stand and you'll stand in the fray and make sure that nobody else gets hurt if you can do anything about it. So, and I think I just got a message. I don't know why. Oh, I hope this didn't, I can't see it now. Well, it's 5 minutes, and what does it say? It says storage is almost gone. Well, thanks. Not now. I guess that wasn't. Hey, what do you do when you're trying to record your fourth podcast and a big sign comes up and makes you think your battery's going to go dead or your storage is gone? Well, it didn't happen, so I'm just going to leave that in, and we can deal with it.